Did TTC just make the best magnetic switches? Let's go ahead and find out. Pretty straightforward. When you buy the switches, you get the switches. You also get a plastic can, pretty standard switches can. But yeah, the switches did arrive pretty securely. It does have this bubble wrap wrapped around it. Now, I'm not sure if you'll also get one, but I did receive it with this switch keycap puller. I mean, not really a big deal. High chance you already have one because pretty much all of the keyboards, magnetic keyboards that you buy will come in with this one. But yeah, I did receive one. Now, for the switches, I did receive 90 pieces, but you can also get it in 10 pieces. I'm pretty sure that is not canned though. But yeah, here are the other pieces, options, packs that you can get. But okay, enough about that. Let's go ahead and talk about the actual switches. These are the Elf King magnetic switches from TTC, as you can already tell from the title of the video. And first impressions, I think it does look pretty nice. It does have that elven color, kind of greenish, but there's a bluish as well. Clear top case, and what is this? Pastel blue bottom shell, closed bottom. And they also say this does have a centralized magnet design, which pretty much means it is compatible with almost all magnetic keyboards. That is compatible with TTC or Gatron like magnetic switches. For example, like Jade switches, Jade Pros, Jade Rubies, TTC KOMs. Also the lacquer switches from Wuting, similarly structured centralized magnet design. So yeah, these switches are also compatible with all Wuting keyboards that uses those lacquer switches. Yeah, pretty much every magnetic keyboard nowadays. And yeah, here's an image showing each part of the switch. I also opened it up. As you can see over here, you can clearly see the lube, by the way, when you open it up, or even before opening it up. Just looking at the sides of the switches, you can see the lube in there. I mean, as soon as I touched the switches, I did feel a bit of lube on the casing. I don't think it's over lubed, but yeah, I think it's okay. It's pretty smooth thanks to that lube. No scratches at all. It kind of reminds me of the Jade Pros because they feel very smooth as well, similarly to this. Or is this actually a bit smoother? It does have an initial force of around 32 gram force. It does have a spring length of 17 millimeters. Okay, I opened up a KOM switch, a magnetic white switch from Gatron. Let's not get them mixed up, but as you can see, the KOMs over here have the longest switches, coming in around 21 millimeters. I did review the KOMs before. They are pretty well known for long switch or springs. And the one on the very left is majority of the magnetic switches have these length of springs around 13-14 millimeters. Then the one in the middle is the ones from Elf King, 17 millimeters. Now my experience with longer springs is actually good, or to be specific, my experience with the KOMs with the long springs, it does make them more snappy, aggressive, but at the same time not hard to press, which I really like. So yeah, I'm actually pretty happy with the longer springs here. But it also does have an initial magnetic flux of around 90 GS and the final magnetic flux of around 480 GS. It does have a total travel of around 3.4 millimeters. I mean, closed bottom, understandable, and I think that is more than enough. But yeah, if you do prefer that 4 millimeters, you won't be able to reach that here. But yeah, again, I don't think it's a big deal. 3.4 millimeters is more than enough for me. They do claim a durability of 100 million. And of course, this is a magnetic switch. The pre-travel will be customizable down to 3.4 millimeters if you'd like. But yeah, another feature that these switches have is the ventilation under here. I mean, you're looking at other switches, they don't really have these holes. There's also one here that I see. I don't know if you can see it, but like in the corner of the cross. These are apparently for ventilation and for heat dissipation, which is pretty good because I've read somewhere, not sure how true it is, but yeah, the temperature apparently affects the magnetic fields, which can make magnetic switches unstable, something like that. Anyways, enough with the features and the specs. How about the sound? Here's a little sound test. Now, I think that sounds very amazing. Pretty smooth, pretty creamy. I wouldn't say it pops. It's actually on the quieter side. So if you prefer a quiet switch, I think this is an amazing option. Let's go ahead and actually install this on a keyboard so that we can hear more the sound of it. TTC Elf King magnetic switches applied. Now let's go ahead and apply some keycaps as well and listen to the sound test. just like the switches, I think that sounds very smooth, very quiet in a good way, creamy. I really like it. It's pretty unique. I haven't heard a magnetic switch sound like this. And so that we can actually hear how unique it sounds, let's go ahead and compare it to other magnetic switches I got over here. These are the OLOD TI magnetic switches, Witchway Studio Flock switches, TTC KOMs, and Gateron Jade Pros. But yeah, I also got some feedback from you guys on my other switch testing videos that I should compare it on the same place or position in the keyboard. So for example, in ASD, I should all test the switches on ASD so it doesn't sound different, because yeah, I mean, that definitely makes sense and I agree. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll go ahead and show on the screen what switches you're listening to, but before that, just for fun, maybe let's do a little blind test. I won't tell you what switch it is first and then I'll tell you. Now, what do you think about that? I think it is very obvious which was the TTC Elf King switches. They were the most silent out of them. I think the closest switches comparable to the TTC Elf Kings are the Jade Pros. Volume-wise at least, these are pretty silent as well when I was listening. But when comparing both of them, the Elf Kings just seemed like it was the keycaps and the case and pretty much the keyboard, not the switches making the sound. Now, I'm not saying the Elf Kings doesn't have the sound, I just feel like it's not as loud as these other switches. But yeah, sound can totally be a personal preference and can definitely change depending on the keyboard you're gonna be using. And yes, this is an HM66 with this 460 aluminum case with these double shot PBT prism keycaps. I did make a modding video about this keyboard, so if you want more details on what this keyboard is, you can watch that after this video. But yeah, that sound switch comparison is definitely interesting. They all have their own unique sounds and audiences. I'm sure some will like these, some will like that, some will like these TTC Elf King switches, especially if you're a fan of that smooth, quiet, creamy sound. Yeah, you'll definitely like the Elf King switches. But of course, we're also going to be testing out these TTC Elf Kings on other magnetic keyboards, and to be specific, I do want to test them out so bad on like loud keyboards. Like, I wonder how quiet they can get with some quiet switches like these. So let's get started right away on that. This is one of the loudest keyboards I've actually tested. This is the IROK MG75 Pro. The review is not yet out at the moment of filming this video, but yeah, soon it will be. It currently has the OKT Starlight switches installed right now, and yeah, they are pretty loud. Closed bottom as well, but yeah, here's a little sound test between the both of them. First with the stock loud OKT switches. Can totally be a personal preference, but I think that sounds so much better with the Elf Kings, and much quieter as well by a little bit. It's not as quiet as when we were using the Elf Kings with the previous keyboard, but it is still much quieter than the stock switches, and I'm sure if we use other loud switches, this keyboard will even be more louder. But yeah, if you do have an IROK MG75 Pro and you want to make it sound better, then yeah, I do recommend these switches. Now, this is the Jet 75 from Mchos, probably the last keyboard we're going to be testing these switches on for now. This is also a pretty well-known keyboard on the channel. These does have the Kale God magnetic switches over here, as you can see. Pretty loud, not too loud, but yeah, pretty, it does make a sound. But yeah, here's a little sound test before and after. Can definitely be personal preference, but I think again it does sound better. It does sound more creamy, less higher pitch when it comes to the sound at least. But stability wise, one of the main reasons why I like the Kill Gods is because of how stable it is. I mean, it does sound pretty decent, but yeah, its stability is just pretty crazy. That's why I liked it. And yeah, it's actually pretty equal here. Maybe the Kill Gods like slightly, just very little more stable, the Kill Gods, but yeah, these guys are pretty stable as well. I doubt you'll actually notice any difference. They're very close to each other stability wise that I'm actually kind of unsure if the Kill Gods are a bit more stable or which is more stable. But yeah, talking about its good stability, because of that, these will be amazing for gaming, especially if you're using quite the sensitive settings on your magnetic keyboard. You'll be able to expect less accidental activations and actually use those settings that are pretty sensitive without adding much dead zone. But yeah, let's go and test these switches out more in game.
Where did they plant?
Circle. I'll handle this.
One default.
1, 2. Where's the other guy?
One minus 30.
I'm back.
Oh, you hear him. You hear him. All side.
Looking for
Nice.
Nice.
Last two side.
big teleport. Cutting through.
One enemy remaining.
Last guy on jet.
Oh! Like.
And then I was like, additionally, landmarks also got 26 in damages. What the hell?
One enemy remaining.
Alright, let's go, guys.
You should run. One enemy remaining.
Our spike carrier.
Holy shit, sorry.
Down B.
Wait, race us all, race us all. And Sky is also best side.
Die.
Both. That's
remaining.
both. Alright, just don't say.
So after playing and testing with the TTC Elf King magnetic switches, here's my experience so far. They are amazing when gaming. Very stable, quite bouncy like I said earlier. It does have that aggressiveness because of its longer springs, similarly to the TTC KOM's King of Magnetics. Pretty similar feel. Not as crazy though because it does have longer springs as you saw earlier. Does it feel more responsive than other switches? Well, not really. I mean, it will depend on the PCB, the responsiveness of the clicks and how accurate it is, its firmware, the actuation distance you set it to. So yeah, I think it will highly depend on the PCB's performance. Though it might feel more responsive when it's going up because again, because of the longer springs, it feels more bouncy, more aggressive on that uptake. But yeah, theoretically speaking, it does not change the performance, just the feeling. And another thing that can make it feel more responsive is its light initial force. So when comparing it to something like double the initial force, for example, comparing it to a switch with an initial force of around 60 grams and this only has 32 grams, these might feel more responsive, even though theoretically speaking, it shouldn't really make any difference on the numbers, milliseconds. I also talked about its stability. I did compare it to the Kill Gods, and I said the stability is pretty similar, very hard to notice. It is true, but because of the structure of the switches, comparing it to something like the KOMs or the Kill Gods with those boxy stem types, you know what I'm saying, they're actually more stable when pressed down. But yeah, before pressing it down, they're pretty much the same. But yeah, not really a big deal. It is already crazy stable enough pressing down or not pressing down these switches, the TTC Elf Kings. Now, other than gaming, for my daily use, they also sound amazing. I'm typing a lot, you know, editing a lot. I had no problems with them. I'm enjoying typing with them. Very smooth, creamy, and quiet. If you do like that, you would definitely like this switch like I mentioned earlier. Its acoustics is just amazing. I can definitely see these switches becoming the perfect gaming and daily use sound stability switches for a lot of you guys. Amazing experience with these switches. I would recommend them. Now, do I think it's worth it though? It's gonna cost around $4 per 10 pieces. These TTC Elf King magnetic switches. So they're actually pretty cheap comparing it to other competitions at the moment of filming this video at least. But yeah, of course, the more you get, it's gonna be cheaper as well. So for example, 100 pieces is just gonna cost around $36 at the moment. It might vary depending on which website you buy it as well from. But yeah, comparing it to something like the Gatron Magnetic Jade Pros, price-wise, at the moment of filming this video, it's gonna be around $56 per 70 pieces. The Jade Pros, while these TTC Elf King switches is gonna be around $25 for 70 pieces. that's like half, more than half actually. So it's coming out $0.8 per piece on the Gateron Jade Pros, which is $8 per 10 pieces. So yeah, double the price of the TTC Elf Kings right now. Another famous switch that we can compare it to is the Geon Raws. The Geon Raws are around $39 per 70 pieces, 70 pack. Yeah, so that comes around $0.57 per piece, so $5.7 per 10 pieces. A bit more expensive as well compared to the TTC Elf Kings at the moment. And comparing it to something like the OLED TI magnetic switches, it's gonna be around $4.8 per 10 pieces. So yeah, just a little bit more expensive than the Elf Kings at the moment. So yeah, comparing it to the competition, these TTC Elf Kings are amazing for the price. That is pretty good. They're pretty high quality, pre-lubed, very stable as well, similar to these other switches, double the price of them. They also sound amazing. I can see them being preferred by a lot of other people, especially to those that wants that quieter, smoother sound. So yeah, I think it is worth it. I would recommend it. If you're interested, I'll be putting this first link in the description, these TTC Elf King switches. I'm not sure if I'll have an affiliate link or discount code, but if I ever do, I'll be putting it in the description. So I would really appreciate it if you can use that link when buying anything from the iPopular shop store or anything from the description. I would also really appreciate it if you can use my discount code if I have one. And yeah, a little disclaimer, these switches are sent to me by TTC, but that won't change my review. Everything that you've been hearing me say about these switches are all my honest opinions and review. Anyways, I pray and hope that this video helped you in some way. I'll go and see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to stay grateful and remember, Jesus loves you. Bye bye.